Hello, good day, everyone. My name is Eleojo Rosemary Peters. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Eleojo Group of Companies. I am from Ida in Kogi State, Nigeria, West Africa, and I'm involved in the agricultural value chain with an integrated farm. The question here is, how do we feed 10 billion people on a hotter planet come year 2050? And I want to react this way. In my business, as of today, an arm of Eleojo Foods, which is known as Tubakari Farms Limited, we are already addressing this pertinent question by addressing the post-harvest loss system. And what do I mean by this? Post-harvest loss simply means, the loss that arose after harvesting of grains. This time around grains, because this is what we are involved in. We, at the end of every farming season, come the harvest time. And during this harvest, a lot of farmers must have engaged in the farming, especially the wet season farming. And at the end of the day, we have grains, lots of grains, from various farms. The farms are filled up with grains. The marketplace is also filled up with grains. And what happens? There will be too much of grains chasing few monies in circulation. So the buyers at this point are as an advantage, buying products or produce at cheap prices, which is not good for the farmers. And at the end of the day, even at that, we have a lot of waste. A lot of these grains are being wasted. Right from the farm, you come to a farmer's farm and you see that a lot of grains are just there. And when you ask questions, what are you doing about it? He said people are not buying, and there's nothing that can be done. So it's actually a pitiful sight during this period. So in our own business, as small as we were, we decided to address this particular loss situation in the agricultural value chain, by taking off as an aggregator. We started off as aggregator. That I mean by buying this farm produce from farmers during season. That is when these produce are abundantly in the market, are abundantly on the farm. We buy them up at a cheaper rate, although better than what it is in the market, to encourage farmers. So we buy them and take them to our facilities. In our facilities at Tubakari Farms Limited, we have equipment for drying, moisture testing, cleaning, 4 stages of cleaning of every grains, weighing, and then bagging in jute bags, and then storing, in our storage facilities to preserve these grains, for a future use. And when the time comes, we sell these grains, to manufacturers and to the open market. In that way, we are able to curb at least 80% of post-harvest loss in our own community where we operate from, in our state, Kogi State, in Nigeria, and then the world at large, 8%. Although it might not be felt, globally, but we are already addressing this, at our level at Eleojo Foods Nigeria Limited, with an arm of our business, Tubakari Farms. Okay, for instance, when you take the planting season, for instance, you have lots of grains, maize, corn, millet, what have you. At the end of the day, these things are not properly sold because it is abundantly available everywhere. So if globally, we can look at this, take a decision to address this post-harvest loss, put a system in place, in place around the world to curb this menace. We must have succeeded in saving foods to feed 10 billion people, even more, on a hotter planet come 2050. You know, come 2050. Our own major challenge here is that we are not equipped with a high capacity equipment and a more modern automated system. You know, so if we have capacities, you know, for higher capacities, you know, of machines, and then also equipped with solar system to power this machine, because currently we are using generating sets, which is comes with a very high cost in terms of fueling and maintenance. But so if we have solar in place, it will go a long way, you know, to enable us have a seamless operations, you know, when these grains come into the factory. And again, the storage system, we do not have storages like the silos, which is actually the best, you know, for storage of grains. So if we have opportunities to have storage, you know, then we can do more, you know, in curbing post-harvest loss. You know, in our little way that we are doing right now, at least to 8% of this has been curbed, you know, and then globally, about 40% of the world's food loss, you know, is recorded, and about 30% comes from the African countries. Yes, this is because we lack technical know-how. We lack the machineries to work, and we have the funding to actually buy this produce from the back end. That is the back end of the business, buying up from the farmers. So we lack all this. If all this can be addressed, then we will go a long way to finding an enduring solution to this pertinent question. Then, having said that, on the grain side, we are not involved in the perishable items like the tomatoes, the pepper, mangoes, cashew, and all that. When these things are in season and you come to some farms and you see how these things are being wasted, you will almost cry. You know, I have gotten some opportunities before when some companies called me to help them dry mangoes, you know, and cashew, you know, and then my response was simple. We were not disposed to doing that because we do not have the drying system for such items, because they already know, maybe probably from the Facebook adverts that we do, that we have dryers and all that. So it's something that we can also take up if we are equipped with the necessary equipment. In Kogi State, you know, where we operate from, we have a lot of these wasting. So if we can be empowered, you know, by appropriate equipment, you know, solar system, and then we are talking about a hotter planet again. That means it is going to be very hot. In 2021, from November to January, February, and March 2022, that is this year, we did dry season farming. And at some point between February and March, it was very hot, hotter than what it has always been. So that is to say, we should expect a hotter planet in the nearby future. And how do we also address that? From my own little experience, a good experience of what happens to us on the farm between February and March 2022, we even the one borehole that we have on the farm started drying out, and then we have rice on the farm that needed water. So we were lacking water. Apart from rice, we have watermelon on the farm, we have maize on the farm, we have onions on the farm, and all this needed water, you know, and then the borehole could no longer supply us with the adequate water. So if at our small place we could experience this, so you can imagine what the world will experience in the nearby future, you know, in 2050. So the earlier we begin to address the irrigation system, especially in Africa, because in Africa we lack all these things, then we will be able to join hands together and address this come 2025, 2050. Then we must have added and contributed to the global food save by at least 25% if we are equipped with all the highlighted equipments. Thank you very much.